So we had to discuss this. I was astonished by this, and I don't expect much of Mike Pence. But Mike Pence came out and said he supports banning abortion even for non-viable pregnancies. So in other words, if it looks like, there's a fatal defect in the fetus or whatever, it's still like, well, you got to give it a shot. This is his position. So I want to read you this in CNN. Former Vice President Mike Pence said abortion should be banned when pregnancy is not viable, according to the Associated Press. Quote, I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it, Pence told the AP in a recent interview. I just have heard so many stories over the years of courageous women and families who were told that their unborn child would not go to term or would not survive, and then they had a healthy pregnancy and a healthy delivery.
Wow.
Yeah. So, look, I don't know what the statistics are. If I had to guess, I would say that in the overwhelming majority of cases, if a doctor tells you this fetus is not viable, the fetus isn't viable. And so effectively what he would be doing is forcing many women to have a stillbirth.
It's monstrous.
That's got to be incredibly traumatizing, right? Like super traumatizing.
I can't imagine. You go through all of this, you carry a baby to term, knowing you're advocating for torture of these women. I mean, literally, I don't know how else you describe a situation like that. And so it's unbelievable to me. And then I saw some headlines that, other Republicans are getting asked about it and they're just like dodging the question. I mean, this should be a gimme that this is just monstrous and way out of, if you polled this position, what do you think?
98%.
For all the controversy, defund the police, and it's such a bad slogan, it's so bad for Democrats, whatever. Like, what do you say about this shit that like 0.1% of the population would be cool with and is just actively torturing women? Pence has clearly decided that his lane in the primary is to be the furthest right, especially on abortion, but on like sort of traditionally cultural conservative issues. He's looking at Iowa, which has a big evangelical population and they're well organized, whatever. And, and this is where his politics have always been. But this is particularly grotesque.
I don't understand why people feel the need to like have this purity race and this like, I'm gonna take the maximalist position race. It's really weird, especially when you talk about the issue of abortion. So like, I watched a debate the other day where somebody was arguing literally the moment of conception is from then on, it's a wrap. It should be illegal for you to do anything. And it's like that opens up so many questions. It's like, so, okay, if they take the morning after pill or take the abortion pill within the first couple of weeks or whatever, would you consider that murder? Is that what you would do?
Yeah, they
right?
would.
If we're talking about a gamete or a zygote or a pregestation fetus, if we're talking, as Bill Maher crudely would say in a joke back in the day, we're talking about a pile of goo, and you're willing to say that that's, this needs the full protection of the law, you're very close to saying if somebody jacks off into a tissue and has their jizz there, that like you just committed murder to 17 trillion things because you got 17 trillion sperm in there, right?
Yeah.
This is a gross conversation.
Well, they would never control men in that way.
Right, but you get the point, right?
Yes.
It's like, what is with this? Because I think any reasonable person, when talking about the issue of abortion, you have to think it through seriously. And if you think it through seriously, I think you could dismiss the position pretty quickly that like the moment of conception is when there's a third person in the room. And then look, on the flip side, I don't agree with the idea of like right up to 9 months, right up to that line, like a day before the baby's going to be born, you can shove scissors into the back of his head. No, there's obviously a different moral calculation then versus the beginning. So where I end up is actually where the overwhelming majority of the country ends up and where almost all Democrats are, which is Roe versus Wade. I think it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal idea. It was actually a very moderate approach to abortion. What it said is first trimester, it's a right. Woman can decide, end of conversation. Second trimester, it's mostly a right, but there's, some health regulations that can be put into place. Third trimester, if states so choose, they can ban like late-term abortion. That's where it was, and I think that was a reasonable line. And, smarter people than me have the conversation all the time. What is the actual line? Is it, fetal heartbeat? Is it the consciousness being developed? Is it viability of the fetus where it can survive on its own? Is it pain? Like, where's the line? Like, it's a very actually interesting philosophical and moral and ethical conversation.
Yeah.
But where we end up is with people like Mike Pence saying, I'm going to force you to have a stillbirth. Like, really? This is how off in the wilderness we are? And you got these Republican states trying to ban it from 6 weeks? A lot of people don't even know they're fucking pregnant at 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is where we are? That's psychotic stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And, it's stuff like this that we're about to talk to Congressman Ro Khanna about Joe Biden and what he might do in a second term and whatever. it's stuff like this that makes it so Biden could just be like, I won't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
And it's powerful.
I'm not gonna bring Roe versus Wade back. I'm not gonna codify rights to an abortion. I'm not gonna get rid of the filibuster to do any of that. But I just am not gonna do that crazy ass shit that Mike Pence says that he is dedicated to, and a lot of other Republicans have very extreme positions. I'm just not gonna do that. And for a lot of people, I'll be like, well, that's good enough, I guess.
And if Mike Pence thinks this is going to help me, even in the primary, wrong. You got another thing coming. If he thinks it's going to help me in a general,
I mean,
you got another thing coming.
I think it might help him get from 6% to 8% in a primary.
You think so? That's funny. I don't even think that.
Yeah, I do, because I mean, there is a small part of the GOP base that is very well organized, that is very committed on this issue, and that has broken with Trump on, him trying to moderate some of the language. So, yeah, I think it could get him, from 6 to 8% if he stakes out the position of, like, I'm the biggest psycho on abortion.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's about it.
I just respectfully disagree. I think you make a good point. I just disagree. I think that these people, first of all, Trump is the vibes guy, and a lot of these people just go based off vibes, even though they act like they don't. That's the first point. Second point is, if you want somebody who's more anti-abortion, who's actually more viable, you go DeSantis, who's at 23% instead of 6%.
Yeah.
So I just feel like he's trying, but this, I don't think it's going to work at all.
DeSantis is less viable every day. So
I mean, he's been going down, but Mike Pence, really, he's human oatmeal. You think Mike Pence is more viable than Ron DeSantis?
No, but I mean, I don't think any of them are viable at this point.
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Trump is literally behind bars, and even then, it's a coin flip.
Yeah, the Murdochs are now like
I covered that.
abandoning.
I talked about that.
They're abandoning shit. They're like, maybe Tim Scott.
Okay, but I have to ask you this now, because so my first thought when I saw that is, oh my God, are they going to do the 2016 thing all over again? Where they were like, we're going to go Jeb Bush. And then it was like, okay, he didn't work. We're going to go Marco Rubio. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try Kasich for 2.5 seconds. That doesn't work. Fine, Ted Cruz. And that didn't work either. Are they going to do the same thing? Are they going to now jump from DeSantis to Nikki Haley to Tim Scott to Mike Pence? And they're going to, because that is not going to work. The only person who had any chance was Ron DeSantis, and it needed to be one-on-one versus Trump, and you need a unified conservative media apparatus to hammer away being pro-DeSantis and anti-Trump, and that obviously didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, but no, that's what they're going to do. I mean, at least the reporting is like now they're taking a hard look at Tim Scott.
Oh!
Yeah, but then also, you'll like this one. It says in there that Rupert Murdoch would still like Glenn Youngkin to get in the race. Real Trump slayers there. I mean, listen, with DeSantis, I just don't think he ever had the it factor to be able to knock off the king, which is Trump. I don't know that I don't know who would have been the right person to rally behind,
it's
but
vibes, man.
It's clear to me that at this point that he was never that right person, even if they did all those right things from the beginning.
Trump is such a showman, and he's so charismatic, and he's kind of funny.
He's hilarious.
And like his aura just fills the room, whether you like him or dislike him, right? And like, I'll give DeSantis that I just think he's better numbers-wise than all the other Republicans. I mean, however bad DeSantis is, and people make fun of him for being an introvert and being kind of awkward, all that is true.
Yeah.
But the other guys are worse. Every other candidate is worse, except maybe Vivek Ramaswamy, but he's got weird, arrogant vibes that don't land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Vivek, agreed. I mean, I actually think in terms of talent, I think Chris Christy is the most talented.
Oh, I forgot about Christy. Yeah, no, I agree. He is better. He's above
the most
DeSantis
talented
in terms of talking.
But he's so at odds with the GOP base that one was never going to work out. But, I mean, I don't see anyone else who, on just like a sheer political talent, putting ideology aside, really has what it takes that they could have rallied around.
But to your point, like, I literally don't think anybody has it.
Doug Burgum?
Burgumentum, baby. He said if you donate $1 to his campaign, he'll give you $20. So we're now doing like Ponzi schemes as we're running for president.
Yes, the Bergen Bros are doing Ponzi schemes.
Oh my God.
I love it. We were trying to interview, over on Breaking Points, we're trying to interview all of these people. We have like Asa Hutchinson.
I hear you're going to talk to Ada.
Yeah.
Who we called Ada for certain reasons. That's what Trump said. I still don't know why he did that.
For certain reasons.
He was talking about Asa Hutchinson. He goes, we don't call him Asa. We call him Ada.
I actually want to get him to react to that clip.
Oh, yes.
And see what he says
oh, my
to
God,
it. Because, I mean, the whole point of Trump is like, these people are not even at 1%. Why are they even running? Which is a fair question to put to him. And so I'm thinking we get him to respond to that clip.
Here's going to be Asa's response. Sir, my name is Asa, not Ada. Just wanted to fact check you on that, please.
I appreciate him coming in. We'll see how he does and what he has to say. Take it at face value.
Listen, I'm a Bergum stan.
I really want to interview him. We put in a request for him. We put in a request for Chris. I really want to talk to Chris Christy. Our 15-year-old is now weirdly like become a Christy fan.
Christy's a very good communicator.
She says he's a body positivity king.
I forgot I wanted to cover a Christy clip with you. It was the one where he's talking to Piers Morgan about trans stuff. And it's super interesting because he goes from like, he like lists off 2 or 3 very conservative positions he has on trans issues. But then randomly on the 4th one, he has like a super lefty position on it. It was amazing. It was like, a biological man is somebody born a biological man, and that's the end of the conversation. A biological woman is somebody born a biological woman, and that's the end of the conversation. That's how I view it.
Yeah.
And then Piers Morgan was like, okay, well, what if it's like an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, and they're on like hormones or test. What's the other one? Puberty blockers. And Christy was like, well, that's totally up to the parents and the individual. I was like,
yeah.
Wait, what? I thought you were going to hit him with the hard right thing again.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen that interview. I saw him talking about these issues in maybe a PBS interview. I don't know. Ella, our daughter, sends me all this stuff now about Christy.
Christy fan club. That's
so funny. Yeah, it's like half ironic, but anyway, whatever. But it seems like he's trying to do what some, like Joe Biden does on abortion, which is saying, I personally think this is wrong. Personally, in my family, like we wouldn't get an abortion, but I don't think it should be up to the state. I think it should be up to the individual families. It seems to me like that's the line he's trying to walk on,
but like
trans issues.
It seemed to me, based on what he said, that he wouldn't even call a trans person by their preferred pronouns, which to me is like the easiest thing. Even a lot of hardcore conservatives will be
I just feel like that's so
dickish. What's that?
I feel it's so dickish.
Well, I'll tell you
why.
like that. Well, he answered like that because the way it was like presented to him was like, he went to that corner of a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and that's how I view it. And it may have been related to a sports conversation too, where he was like,
Piers
I'm
Morgan's
not going to
big
allow
on that sports shit.
Piers Morgan will not. He is such a fucking wave rider, that guy, man. Whatever issue's hot, he's like, I need to surf the wave. I need to surf the wave. And he just fucking virtue signals all day to his audience. Anyway, that was sort of randomly bitter and out of nowhere. But Christy, it was very interesting. The like 2 or 3 right-wing positions, then hit him with the left-wing position. And Piers pushed him on it too. Like, seriously, a 10-year-old, like puberty blockers, hormones. And he was like, listen, I'm against big government. It's none of the business of the government to get involved in that situation. We talk about parents' rights when it comes to schools. I believe in parents' rights when it comes to schools. I also believe in it for stuff like this.
That's consistent.
Yeah. So anyway, interesting guy.
Yeah, very much so. Anyway, we have another politician we want to talk to this morning, Congressman Ro Khanna, coming in studio. Let's get to it.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.